Greetings, I'm Mike Bailey. Today I want to talk to you about a basic pedal board layout setup, and I get asked that question a lot by a lot of new guitar players. How do we begin setting up a pedal board? And so today is the very basics of what I think is necessary for my own self. Your needs may vary, but I think that this is kind of the basic things that we need to have. And so right away, I just want to give a nice little overview of what we are working with and give you an idea of how much to invest in something like this. This particular pedal board is stuff that I built from things that were available and some things that I just recently received. And so this is kind of just really something I just put together out of understanding that I knew they were going to work together. And if you look at this right here, this is doing the math on this. You could build this entire setup from all the pedals, the pedal board, the power supply that's included in the pedal board, all the cabling to run the power to the pedals, the interconnect cabling, all of it I built for less than $400. Now, I know that that is a pretty significant amount of money for all of us, and for most of us anyways, I'm sure, and certainly is for me. And so sometimes we kind of need to find a way to bring that budget down, and I'm going to show an alternative to at least one of the pedals on this board today that would take the place and bring the cost down on this pedal board. But we're going to give a listen to this guy first and see if this is kind of doing what we expect it to do. All right, so here we go. We're just going to do a reference. This is just what our clean sound through our amplifier sounds like, so that we can understand what we're laying over top of, and we can hear that this is a pretty basic sound. So there's what we're going to dress up and make sound better. All right, so here we are back again. We are routed now with our signal through this pedal board, and the first thing that falls in line is a tuner, and we're going to talk a lot about tuners later. But just know that right now, in terms of what it does, it just turns off your signal and lets you silently tune your guitar. We're not going to turn that one on and off, but I am going to show the rest here. I'm going to start right here at the back, actually, so the signal travels from right to left, and I'm going to start in the back. This is the first thing heading out to the amp, and this is adding some reverb. And that gives it a little spatial sound. And then I'm going to also add just a touch of delay on that with that reverb. So this is a 2-in-1 pedal, basically adds both effects. Next, I'm going to turn on this right here. This is the second pedal in line, and this is a compressor. And this basically kind of evens out the signal strength for all strings, and basically just kind of, it's an always-on pedal for me that basically just does a nice little job of kind of making sure that every note is heard clearly and cleanly. And then finally, this pedal right here, and I love this pedal. This is probably my favorite effect, in fact, but it isn't an always-on pedal necessarily. For me, it's pretty close to always on, but not 100%, maybe 95%. But this is an overdrive pedal, actually, and this is something we're going to talk about as well. It adds a lot of grit and dirt to the signal. And so then for taste, I got this modulation pedal right here. This is a phaser. And so this is going to kind of do a fun thing with the signal and just kind of give you that wavy sound. And so then you switch that off and get rid of that. hear that nice long sustain. That comes from the compressor pedal as well. The compressor pedal helps with keeping a signal going and going and going, and so that's really nice too. So this is all of them burning at the same time. One more time, just listening to just some random little thing I'll do here is all right. So let's talk about what is on the board here and what does Mike personally consider to be some of the most important things to put on a pedal board. And so what I've got here are the classification that I would call each pedal that we were listening to. And then I've got some of the styles and examples written over here as to what we were using. But let's just talk briefly about first, right off the top here, a tuner pedal. And I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes explaining why I feel as though it is the most important pedal. It is also the one that is not terribly exciting to put on the board. It doesn't do much in the way of what your sound sounds like when you're playing along, but it sure does help when you sound like you're in tune. You're going to have to trust me that when you're in tune, you sound like a much more accomplished player than when you're not in tune. It's the pedal that'll give you the most payoff. Additionally, whenever you're trying to do the intonation and set up your guitar so that it sounds its very, very best, having a tuner that gives you accurate data is so important. The truth is, though, that I don't believe I've got boxes of tuners. No joke. I've got lots of them, and they don't all basically jive and give me information that corresponds to one another. They will kind of vary a little bit in some sort of way on one particular string or another. So I brought some examples today of ones that I have found and really trust the data that I'm getting from. And then I've also, so far as to also say that basically I can move about my guitar neck when I'm trying to intonate my guitar and basically use that as a tool to make sure that I'm getting my intonation set up properly as well. So the tuners that I chose, I went with a really low cost one in the front here. This one, I have purchased this online for less than $20, but I have been blown away by how well it does work in the situation that I've used it in, and I have matched it up with ones that are known good ones, and it functions quite well against them. So this one is a Kugo, Koogo, and it works fantastic. It is a low-cost option. I consider anything that's below $40 a low-cost option. And then for reference, I call mid-priced options stuff between $40 to $60. And then for reference, anything above $60 sounds like a pretty large investment to me. So I'm going to refer to anything above $60 as kind of expensive. So just for the reference as we're talking. But here is one that I would call kind of mid-priced. This is an Ibanez Big Mini tuner. I've got two of these. I use one of these on my main gigging board. And this particular tuner really gives good data and accurate information back to me. So I like that particular tuner a lot, and that's why I have two of them. I have one on my gigging board, and then this one actually peeled off my rehearsal board at home. It's a great option if you can reach up and get to that particular price point. This guy is nice and solid. It's got a mini form factor. It doesn't accept batteries, so whenever you see these mini form factors, there's no battery compartment, so don't expect one. You have to power it with 9 volts. Here's another option for a tuner that basically is pretty much best of the best. This is Peterson, and Peterson is a company that just specializes in tuning equipment for studios and so forth. This is music instrument quality stuff that is professional quality stuff, really. This particular guy, I think, runs somewhere between $150 $160, so it is very pricey, but it gives you exceptionally accurate data, and this company is known for the product they produce. So 3 options, they all kind of give me the same functionality. it's nice to be able to have this Peterson to basically kind of verify that the data I'm getting is good. So the unexciting pedal is also a very important one. So I hope that you consider using the best one and making sure that it's giving you good data as you play your music. So now the next classification I'm going to talk about is the boost pedal. Boost pedal is anything that basically helps you do just as explained, gives you a kick in volume, a kick in output, and for that we were using a compressor pedal. And some people like to set a compressor pedal up as an on and off kind of thing. For me, I just set it up to use it as a always on pedal. I want to just set it and forget it. I just want to put it on and let it do its thing continually all the time. And it really just smooths out every single high note with low note and makes them all kind of coexist very nicely. It's just one of those pedals that, again, it's not terribly exciting until you try to play without it, and then you start to realize, man, I really like just having a compressor in front, and so that's why mine's an always on. The next classification of pedal that I consider to be important for basic, just the one thing that gives you some variance. We're using it that way just now. Basically, we had a modulation pedal. This particular one is a phaser. There are lots of different other options too. Flangers, there are choruses, there are wahs, there are auto wah pedals. Auto wah being the type of pedal you can just click on and let it do its work for you. And a wah pedal is kind of like simulates voice that really it sounds almost like a talk box almost. But I like to use a phaser. It's kind of at least my current favorite modulation for the last several years. If you ever listened to the video at the beginning, the introductory video for Footprints of Jesus, the opening of that song I'm playing through a phaser. So I switch them on occasionally just to create that nice effect. It's a nice ocean wah kind of moving effect. The next is my favorite, my personal favorite, a distortion pedal, or in that classification there are overdrives and there are fuzz pedals. The lines between them get a little bit blurred because overdrives can really go super high, and frankly we are using an overdrive pedal. This is technically an overdrive pedal on the pedal board right now. And you can drive that to the point where it starts to move into what would be a distortion pedal, and a distortion is kind of like the middle ground for me, where it's pretty heavily saturated, but it's not quite in the fuzz range, where the fuzz gets really heavy saturation, really really highly affected sound that some people really do love it, and you've heard lots and lots of songs use fuzz pedals. I tend to want to gravitate more towards the distortion or the overdrive that's really driven way up. And the one I chose for this board is a Blues Driver by Boss, and frankly, it is just a fantastic pedal. It is a circuit that's kind of unique, how they basically do that, and it works great. It's just one of Boss's very best pedals, in my opinion. So I'm going to also show you an alternative right now for this. I would consider actually a distortion pedal. This is called the Sonic Cake Rude Mouse. And this Sonic Cake Rude Mouse is a much less expensive version of a distortion pedal compared to this Boss Blues Driver. So this Boss is about $100 right now, current market value on this guy. You can get this particular pedal for about 35 bucks. So that you're looking at $65 in savings right there if you're to put this guy on the board instead of this one. But I would call this one kind of unique also as well, because it is a copy of a Rat pedal. And I've first heard the Rat pedal in, I'm guessing, 1984. And it sounded great in 1984, and it still sounds great here now today. And this is a copy of it, and this is a really good copy of it. I just got this pedal very recently and was just completely surprised when I plugged this in and started messing with it. And I just absolutely love what it does. I will mention one thing. If you decide to go this route, one thing you're going to find out about any type of Rat pedal or copy thereof, it's got a control on it called filter. And the filter kind of is not intuitive to use, because as you turn it up, it's actually a high frequency cut as you turn it up. and so it works a little differently than what you would expect. So it could throw you, but you find the happy spot on that filter, and you've got some really glorious sounds. I think I'm gonna swap this back out onto the board and just play through this one time too, so that we can hear what that sounds like. But that's a way to lower the cost on this overall rig right here. That would bring the cost down about $65 from what I said before. So that's a pretty cool option as well. Finally, at the very back here, you got a time-based um, effect, and this is a 2-for-1. This has got two effects built into the system right here. It does reverb for us and it does delay as well. And this guy is a Sonic Cake also. And I bought this one off of eBay. You can go to Sonic Cake's storefront in eBay and get great deals on their stuff, by the way. Not paid. Uh, but I love their stuff. And this particular pedal is 2-in-1, and it gives you two different versions of a time-based effect built into one pedal, so it kind of doubles up the effect. And it gives me the two that I love to use in the back end of any pedal board at the same time, and that is delay and reverb. I like a little bit of reverb. I like a little bit of delay. Um, and for basic, I absolutely positively have to have it. It's pretty much an always on for me on my pedal boards. So that's a quick rundown. I'd want to just go back to, I got one other modulation option as well, and this is a Kugo phaser. The Kugo, this particular phaser I've also found to be very, very inexpensive, very cost effective. It's not really a well-known brand name, but I found that on Amazon, and it is very, very comparable to this more 90 orange, and the 90 orange is a great pedal, but so is this guy too. So there's another option for cutting down the cost, and I would say that with these two particular pedals in there, I would say that you could bring that whole cost of this board down to somewhere in the neighborhood of $300. So just a basic options pedal board, and that's, I think, probably gonna be what a lot of guitarists, electric guitar players, are gonna need to basically get themselves into a place where they can start to have those tones that they need to do the work that they're going to do. All right, just one last little runaround with this before we call this done, but I want to just show you the alternatives and how they perform on this board. So just give this a listen, see if this is anything that is interesting and better, or maybe not. So there you have it, the alternatives. I do kind of really like this rat version of a pedal. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. We we love bringing it to you. We've got another video out there about building pedal boards for direct input. We're also planning doing one more in this series. It's all about basically going a little more advanced with the pedal boards. So check that out. We'll have that up pretty soon. And in the meantime, if you want, you can go to our YouTube channel to check all the stuff that's available out there. And then if you want to learn more about Footprints of Jesus Ministry, check out our website at fpjministry.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.